Hi, and welcome back to The Systems Entrepreneur. I'm Kelly, and today I want to talk about if you are secretly self-sabotaging yourself in business. The story begins with a friend of mine from college who would routinely and repeatedly fall in love with the most unavailable men around. And I'm not talking about men who someone would say is out of her league. I mean celebrities, married, engaged, live 600 miles away type guys. And this pattern would repeat itself and be totally frustrating because I had this talented, amazing, beautiful friend who was constantly feeling frustrated around who she wanted to date and be in a relationship with. And it wasn't until a mutual friend pointed out to me that she was consciously self-sabotaging her own love life by choosing men who could not say yes to her that it started to make sense. And I see entrepreneurs doing this all the time. Most of the time, entrepreneurs will say to me, I'd love to be in the media. I want to be in Oprah's magazine. Or of course, I'd love to get my product out there. My dream placement is at Goop. Or even looking at podcasts that you want to be on and going for the #1 podcast in your category. Now, it's great to dream like this. It's lovely to look at how far you can go and have that kind of confidence in your message. But it can also be self-sabotaging if you only go for opportunities that you know are currently outside of your reach. A good example of this is somebody who recently shared in a community I'm in that they had been fired from their job, they were unemployed, they couldn't make ends meet, and they were not even looking for help. They were just saying, oh, and here's what my goal is. I'm going to change from my current business, which is in the medical field, and now I'd like to be a comedy writer. And the only way you can help me and the only kind of gig that I want is The Daily Show. And I thought that was really fascinating because a conversation ensued where lots of well-meaning people were saying, well, that's great. Like, are there other things you're looking at to like pay the bills until this big dream comes true? And the person just kept saying, this is my path. This is my path. And to go from 0 to 100 is really dangerous unless you're, I don't know, a trained NASCAR driver. Most of the time, these steps leading up to it are not just because you have to prove yourself or gatekeeping. It's to build your confidence. Because I guarantee that the person who is, doing podcast interviews and polishing their skills and speaking on stages, and then they get invited to speak to Brene Brown, they're going to have the confidence to walk into that gig and are ready to go. If you take somebody who has not had this experience and they're not at that level of play yet and you give them that opportunity, it's more likely to lead to a breakdown than success. Now listen carefully, because it's really easy to misconstrue this and make it sound like I'm saying you're not good enough. And that's not what I'm saying. There is nuance here. And there are people who come into a gig and they have connections or they have funds and they buy their way into that top spot. For most of us, it's a process of refinement, of learning what we're good at, learning how to speak to audiences, learning what gets us featured on bigger and bigger platforms. And taking that journey is the entrepreneurial process. So don't pretend like if you can't hit #1 in your goals, then it's just not good enough. Don't act like if you pitch one person and they tell you no, then it's time to give up. You have to go to sometimes a lower level or a more achievable access point in order to build your way up to where you want to be. It's good to remember that Oprah wasn't Oprah when she was 23, right? There were people who fired her from jobs. She didn't have all the opportunities she has now. She built her way up. Because if you'd taken little baby Oprah at 20-something years old and given her a media empire, we would not have the Oprah we have today. So it's great to aim big. It's great to look at where you want to go, but remember to take steps to get there that are achievable. And your action step here is really simple. Look at the list of places you want to pitch or places you want to be featured, partners that you want to have in your business, and choose one that is not the top tier answer. Choose someone who is a few steps ahead of you, a few years ahead of you. If you're looking at somebody who has a Twitter following or an Instagram following in the millions and you're in the hundreds or a couple thousands, look for somebody that has closer to your range of followers and build up. One of the reasons I said this is sneaky self-sabotage is that there's probably that voice in the back of your head right now saying, no, we should wait until the big leagues. No, we have to go for the top. And you're more than welcome to pitch anyone you like at any time. Go for it. But don't let a no or not right now be a rejection that knocks you off of your track, because you will get there. It's just a journey that usually takes a bit more time. So that's it for today's video. If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. We are sharing entrepreneur mindset, messaging, systems tips, the whole 9 yards here every week on YouTube. So make sure you hit subscribe.